Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Crowd Chatter Podcast. And today is going to be some college football picks. We got some heavy hitters coming your way, so let's not waste any time and let's get into this one. So we got shockers of the week first, as always. And currently in the lead is Sam with a whopping 34 points on the year, having a fantastic season thus far. Zerbensky still searching for his first win, for his first conversion, and I currently have 12 points, so I'm trailing by 22 at the moment. And my pick this week, I'm going for some big points and I'm going big or going home. I got Purdue getting the upset at home and taking down Ohio State. Now, obviously, the last time that this game actually took place, when Ohio State went to the last time that Ohio State went to Purdue, um, they lost. The Buckeyes, they didn't just lose, but they got hammered. It was not a close game at all, and Ohio State ended up just getting utterly shelled miserably, losing 49-20. That was 2018. That was the last time they were in West Lafayette. Now, the chances of it happening again are definitely very slim. But I'm going, like I said, going big, going home is like a 20-point line. Is Purdue, and anything's possible. And they did it once, they can do it again. That's kind of my attitude about it. Then we have Serbensky's pick for this week, and he has Jacksonville State over Liberty. So I don't really know um, which team is home. So I'll just do this. I don't really know who's home yet. I'll have to change it later. Or I'm sorry, he took Jacksonville State over Liberty, not other way. Like this is not one of the games I have on the list, of course. So I don't really know who's home, who's road. I will fix that later. That will tell me that's who he's taking. And then for Sam, his shocker this week is going to be Wyoming over Air Force. Once again, I have no idea who's the home team. So I'm going to just do that. It is Wyoming, okay. So this is once again one of those situations where I have absolutely no idea who the home team is. And so I'll fix that later, but he has Wyoming over Air Force as his shocker. Srbensky's is Jacksonville State over Liberty. And then, of course, me is I have Purdue over Ohio State. So that's it for that, and let's get into our picks for this week. Now, you guys know how I've kind of switched up a little bit lately. I've been going like a snake style, so I go this way, and then I'll come back this way. And so we'll kind of go like that. I'll probably just do that again to make it easier, make this go quicker. So first off, to start off this week of picks, we have Illinois on the road against the Maryland Terrapins. I thought Illinois would be a bit better this year, but they have looked utterly abysmal, and Maryland looks like a pretty solid team. So I am not enthralled by Illinois' chances in this game. Give me Maryland pretty easily. And then I got to pull up their picks for this week. And let me see here. Serbensky, he has Maryland. I figured that he would have Maryland winning this one. And then, if I'm correct, I would suspect that's also going to be the pick for Sam. Obviously, neither one of them are here. Yep, it is Maryland. They're not here, of course, but one of these days I will get actually all three of us, actually on here and picking these games. Hopefully, I can do that. Um, Next, we have Michigan State on the road against Rutgers. Sam's pick for this game is going to be Rutgers. And I'm going to. We'll see who the pick is for. Whoops, wrong way. Let's see who the pick is for Srbensky. He also has Rutgers winning this one at home. taking down the Spartans, and we have a Rutgers sweep because I am going with the Scarlet Knights as well. Michigan State doesn't look like that great of a team. Also, Michigan is next week. They might not really care about this game at all. And like I said, they're in a bit of some shambles. They're not really looking all that sharp right now. Rutgers looks like a much improved team, and that doesn't bode well if you're Michigan State. So I got Rutgers, especially at home. I got the Scarlet Knights getting the win. And then next we have the Cal Golden Bears on the road against Utah. Utah's offense is not very good, but their defense is. Cal is a bit of a better team nowadays, but Utah at home is too tough to beat. I got Utah. The pick for Serbensky is also going to be Utah. As I said, like Cal's a better team this year. They certainly look like they're much improved from previous years. That still doesn't mean they're good. So give me Utah. Sam's pick is also Utah. So once again, we're going to have a sweep to start here. And then next we have Iowa State going on the road to take on Cincinnati. Sam's pick for this game is Iowa State. He has the Cyclones getting the win on the road against the Bearcats. And then for Serbensky, his pick also is Iowa State. Don't really know much about either one of these teams other than Iowa State's dealing with like 30 different players with that are dealing with like gambling, crap. Other than for Cincinnati, like I really don't know what they have other than Emory Jones. I also know they lost to Miami, Ohio. Cincinnati is just a weird team. Iowa State, I don't know really who to pick in this game. I have a feeling this is a game that maybe the home team could win. I mean, Cincinnati's lost to Miami, Ohio, but they also played close with Oklahoma. So I don't know. It's tough to pick between these two, but I've never trusted Iowa State, especially with all the mess within the program. I'll go with Cincinnati at home. I'll take the home team. Why not? Next, we got Ohio State going on the road to take on Purdue. Now, I picked Purdue as a shocker. I am not picking them as my actual choice. Now, if it happens, I'll love that, but in all reality, this should be an Ohio State win, kind of like it was however many years ago when they had Dwayne Haskins in that QB and they lost 49-20. This should be a win. Now, could they end up losing? Yeah, sure. There's a very good chance they could end up losing. That's why I took it. But in all likelihood, it's probably going to be an Ohio State win. Now, I suspect it's going to be a closer game than people think, but I still think that Ohio State's going to win. I'm just taking it as a shocker because if Purdue actually does some heroics, I get some big points. But give me Ohio State. They're obviously that's the team to choose. I mean, why would you choose Purdue? They haven't even looked good this year, so I mean, there really just is no reason to do that. Serbensky has Ohio State, and so does Sam. So we're going to the next one, which is Syracuse going on the road to take on Florida State. And Sam's pick for this game is Florida State. And then I think that's going to be the same pick for Serbensky. Yes, he is picking against his fellow Orangeman, and I will be as well. Florida State just looks like an absolutely devastating team right now. The Seminoles are on an absolute rampage. They have looked so good this season, and they continue to just look absolutely dominant. I mean, their closest. I mean, they took a. I mean, they didn't look great against Boston College, but they played a very close game at Clemson and they got the win. They looked good in that game. This is a Florida State team that has a lot of potential. And they have some tougher games still left on the schedule for sure. But Florida State's got the talent. The question is, will they pull through and actually win? And then will they pull through and actually get all the way through the ACC and get to the title game, or actually get to the CFP? I mean, we'll have to see, but they are certainly a very talented team. Next, we have BYU going on the road to take on TCU, Battle of the Three-Letter Schools. TCU has been a major disappointment. I knew they wouldn't be that special. I figured they would take a major league step back because they lost pretty much their entire offense from a year ago. They lose. Yeah, the guy who was supposed to start over Max Duggan is still there. Chandler Morris, I believe, is his name. He was supposed to be the starter before Max Duggan took over. But even so, they lose Max Duggan, they lose Quentin Johnston, they lose Kendre Miller. That's like the big three parts of that offense from a year ago. It's hard to succeed when you lose your top three guys on offense from a year ago. You lose all three of them. Like, that's a lot of production that you're trying to replace. Now, did I think they'd be this bad? No, I figured they'd be like maybe 8-4 or something like that. I didn't think they'd be 3-3 to start off the year. Now they're getting BYU, who looks like a decent team themselves. Um, it's tough to really choose between these two. But I'm going to go with BYU. This is not a team that really plays that well on the road, but TCU has just not looked good this season. They lost to Iowa State at home, too. So it's like, actually, I think all three of their losses, or was Iowa State at home? I think Iowa State was on the road. But two of their losses I know for sure come at home because they lost to West Virginia at home. But TCU, they have not looked sharp. I'll take BYU in this one. Also, the pick for Serbenski. He's got BYU on the road, taking down the Horned Frogs at TCU. Looks like we got a BYU sweep because that's also the pick for Serbenski. He's got BYU on the road against TCU. Now, I could see TCU in this game, but like I said, they haven't looked good, and BYU is a one-loss team who's looked decent to start this season. Next, we have Kansas State on the road against Texas Tech. The pick for not Serbenski, for Sam is Texas Tech. He has the Red Raiders getting the win. Serbenski, why am I switching those up? Serbenski is taking Texas Tech. I am not. I'm taking Kansas State. Will Howard's a really good QB. And Texas Tech, I'm sorry, that their team's just not very special. I watched that team. I don't get the fascination over them. There's nothing like overly great about them. Are they okay? Yeah, sure. Their team is overall decent, but Kansas State I think is just a better team. It is a road game, but the Wildcats, they played it close with Missouri. Of course, their loss at Oklahoma State doesn't look very good, but I have much more faith in this Kansas State team than I do this Texas Tech team. I'm not a Red Raiders believer, and Texas Tech, they ended up beating Houston. They beat Baylor, but who else have they really beaten? I'm not enthralled by Texas Tech at all. Give me Kansas State. I think this is a big time. I think this is a big bounce back win for them. Next, we have Arizona going on the road to take on the Washington State Cougars, who are 19th in the land. Arizona played it close with USC. They'll play it close with Washington State here too in Pullman, but at the end of the day, I think it's still going to be a win for Washington State. Serbenski is also taking Washington State, and then Sam is going to be taking Washington State. We all have a Washington State sweep, so I'm so far the only one that's differed on who's going to win what game. And so next we have South Carolina going on the road to take, Florida going on the road to take on South Carolina. Sam's choice for this game is the Gators. He's got Florida. He's got the Gator Chomp. Taking down the Gamecocks in, I don't know where, what was it, Columbia, South Carolina, I think. Then for Serbenski, here we go. Finally, we're switching it up a little bit. He's got South Carolina. He's got the Gamecocks getting a win at home. They take down the Florida Gators. As for me, Florida's defense is not really that special. And so it's tough to really choose these two because South Carolina's a decent team, I think, but the problem for really South Carolina is if you have any shred of a defensive line, you're gonna give Spencer Rattler just nightmares in that backfield because South Carolina can't block anybody. And then as for Florida, they're a decent team, but you know, going on the road to South Carolina, I don't really know anything. In that Florida team, they got just shredded apart in the run game by Kentucky. Uh, Florida just does not. They're scary. Florida, they're all over the place. It depends on which Florida team really comes out to play um, against against South Carolina. Florida might be the better team, but this is a home game. I got South Carolina. Florida doesn't really have the greatest D line, and the way to beat South Carolina is they have a good D line. They don't really have that. I think Gamecocks get a big win at home. They take down the Florida Gators. Next, we have the NC State Wolfpack going on the road to take on the Duke Blue Devils. Without Riley Leonard, Duke is a much different team, and Riley Leonard is not playing in this game. So I am taking NC State. I'm not a big Brendan Armstrong believer. He has not looked great with NC State, but Duke is they're a completely different team without Riley Leonard. That guy, he may not be the best thrower, but the dude can absolutely run, and Duke is not going to be, and I think Duke is going to have a hard time adjusting to life without him. So I got NC State with the win. Serbensky has got the Duke Blue Devils getting the win at home. The 17th ranked Blue Devils, which sounds weird to say, and that's also the pick for Sam. He's got Duke getting the win at home. They take down NC State. Next is Kansas going on the road to take on Oklahoma State. Kansas is going to be Sam's pick. He's got the Jayhawks getting a win on the road as they once again just get ranked he has them taking the win in Stillwater. Also as the same pick for Serbensky, he's got Kansas getting the win in Stillwater, and I do as well. Kansas has a really good quarterback. Jalen Daniels looks awesome for him. Of course, I'm pretty sure he's the brother of LSU's Jaden Daniels. Oklahoma State, their starting quarterback, ironically, is a former Texas Tech / Michigan man in Alan Bowman. He is now the starting quarterback for Oklahoma State. Their team is eh, they're not great. I think Kansas is better. Uh, it'll probably be a shootout type game for sure, but give me Kansas in that. Weird to say, but I think Kansas has got a bit more of an offensive capability than Oklahoma State. Or I think Kansas's offense has actually got more firepower than Oklahoma State, which is very weird to say. Now, next we have Auburn going on the road against LSU. Battle of the Tigers. LSU was the better Tiger last week when they took down the Missouri Tigers. They'll take down the Auburn Tigers and they will prove themselves to be the superior Tiger. Was that too many Tigers for you guys? And now Serbensky, his pick is also going to be LSU. Auburn's a solid team and all, but LSU's offense has been just on point so far this year. And Auburn's defense, or I'm sorry, not Auburn's defense. Auburn's offense is not really that enticing to me. Sam's pick is also LSU. Auburn's offense just isn't really that special. It's a home game for LSU. Both their losses so far this year have been away from home. Well, technically it was a neutral site game, but it's in Orlando, Florida. So I don't know if you can really call that a neutral site game. how far away is Orlando from Tallahassee? I mean, come on. It's still in Florida. There's still plenty of Florida State fans, I'm sure, in the Orlando area. I mean, come on. But LSU, their offense has been unbelievable this season. While their defense has struggled, Auburn's offense also hasn't been very sharp. So I got LSU proving themselves to be the superior Tiger. And then next we have the Iowa Hawkeyes going on the road to take on Wisconsin Badgers. Sam's pick is going to be Wisconsin. He's got the Badgers defending home field, getting the win at Camp Randall. Serbenski's pick is also going to be Wisconsin, and then so is mine. Cade McNamara is out for the year with a torn ACL. And their backup QB is just like every other Iowa QB. The dude can't throw it through a wet paper bag, and just looks like an absolute train wreck. So I'm not. And Iowa without a quarterback again, their offense already is borderline abysmal. This is a huge game, but I think Wisconsin is the better team right now with the way they're playing. Iowa really does need this game, but I don't think they're going to get it. They're going to fall short, and Wisconsin's going to get the win and get a big one for the Big Ten West as they look to go back to the Big Ten championship game before we get four more teams and the Big Ten goes to crap. Next, we have Texas A&M going on the road to take on the Tennessee Volunteers. Not a believer in Tennessee. And this is a road game, but Texas A&M, they showed to me against Bama that they actually have a decent team. Now they made some they had some boneheaded plays in that game, but Texas A&M's a good team. This is not a bad A&M squad. I mean, they obviously, I think they're a bit overhyped as they had the number one recruiting class miserably flubbed, and now they're like kind of still scurrying through games. They're a solid team, but people are putting like championship aspirations on them. I think those have been tempered pretty quick. And also, it's Joe Milton's the QB, so that says enough. Tennessee is the pick for Serbenski. He has the Volunteers getting the win home in Knoxville. I'm going big. I'm going upset. And Serbenski's pick. Oh, he's got Texas A&M. Okay, so I'm not the only one who's taken Aggies then. Okay, so Sam also has Texas A&M winning this one. Then next one we have Missouri going on the road to face the Kentucky Wildcats. Sam's pick is Missouri. Okay, this is gonna be a really fun game. Serbenski's pick for this game is actually Kentucky. He has the Wildcats getting the win at home. They defend home field. They win at home at Kroger Field or something like that. Number 24 Kentucky somehow. Don't know why they're still ranked. I got Missouri. This Missouri team has shown me something during this season. They're a solid squad. They lost by 10 to LSU. They put up a pretty massive amount of points. They scored 39 in that game. Of course, Ole Miss scored 55, but that's beside the point. I like Missouri's team. They're a good offensive team. Certainly on defense, they probably leave a little bit to be desired. But Missouri's offense is for real. And Kentucky, they're a decent team, but I think Missouri is going to score a bit more than they will. And so, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Missouri in this one. Should be a very close game, very entertaining matchup. Should be absolutely awesome. Great game probably to see. Next, we have the Miami, Florida Hurricanes going on the road to take on North Carolina. Just because of what happened with Miami, Florida last week, I'd be more inclined to think this would be a really good close game. But after last week and seeing just how much of an idiot Cristobal is and somehow just absolutely flubbing that game away, not enthralled by Miami at all, just because their coaching is obviously leaving a lot to be desired. So I'll take the Tar Heels to get the win at home and remain undefeated, and was a bigger game actually in the ACC. Is also going to be the pick for Serbenski, and Sam has the same thing. So we have a clean North Carolina sweep against the Hurricanes of Miami, Florida. Next is UCLA going on the road to take on Oregon State. Big matchup here. Sam. I switch them up again. Sam has UCLA. They get the win on the road, take down the Oregon State Beavers. The pick for Serbenski is going to be Oregon State. He has the Beavers getting the win at home. They defend home turf. They win in Corvallis. This should be a fun game. UCLA has been very solid, or actually defensively. The UCLA defense has looked very good this season. Meanwhile, Oregon State has been a solid offensive unit with, a bit of a stingy defense. They've been all right on the defensive end for sure. Very fun matchup here. This is a night game, 8 o'clock on Fox. Should be very close. And I did this last week where I said I'll go with the more experienced quarterback and I'll take Cam Ward. And yeah, I bit the bullet on that one. Hopefully, I don't bite the bullet on it. And yeah, well, that didn't go so well. Hopefully, this one goes better because I'm giving it to DJ uh, Uyagole, or as others want to say, ukulele. I don't know, whatever you want to say. Next, we have USC going on the road to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is a huge matchup. For USC, this is a game that could maybe get them on track, and maybe they can beat a big team and feel good about themselves after kind of scurrying their way through the likes of Arizona State, Colorado, Arizona, just kind of scurrying their way through, not looking sharp in any of the games. Maybe with a win here, they can finally do that. You see, the problem with this game, though, to me, is just they have looked absolutely abysmal lately. Their defense continues to be utterly, woeful, and Caleb Williams is having to try and do everything himself. Now, here's a problem. USC's O-line against Arizona got pushed around, and Arizona was constantly getting in that backfield, making Caleb Williams have to run for his life and try and make impress really really crazy plays. Now Arizona's secondary wasn't the greatest either, so they tended to get open. Problem is USC is not going to have that against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's defense is very sharp, and that's the one thing about Notre Dame that's actually really good. I think this lines up for a big upset, and I am taking the Irish. This is a very very desperate Notre Dame team after taking a heartbreaking loss at home to Ohio State, just kind of scrapping their way past the Duke Blue Devils in the game of which they also nearly lost, and then did end up losing and looked pitiful against Louisville. This is a team desperate for a win. This is a team desperate to get their season on track. I mean, they're probably not going to the playoff, but let's at least beat a right, but at least they can beat a rival and feel good about themselves. That's like the idea that's probably the thought process they're gonna have. And that's probably and it'll be a close game for sure. But I think this is a win for the Irish. Watching USC, their defense, they have not looked good, and they continue to suck. They continue to just constantly blow games and nearly end up losing them. Even last week, they looked even worse. So I got Notre Dame. I'm going with an upset. Just USC continues to look worse and worse and worse. Sure, Notre Dame has, but this is a bad matchup for USC. I got Irish in an upset. And the pick for Serbenski is going to be USC. He has the Trojans getting the win on the road. And Sam does too. They both went safe, and that makes sense. But I'm going with the upset. I'm going with Notre Dame. And then next we have probably one of the biggest games of the year. We kind of said this last week with Oklahoma Texas. But this is really as big as it gets. We get Oregon and Washington, 8 versus 7. Utterly huge game. And I'll just go with the picks for the first two guys. Oregon is going to be Sam's pick. He has the Ducks getting the win on the road in Seattle. That would be a huge win for them. Uh, Serbensky is going to be picking Washington. He has the Huskies getting the win at home in a massive rivalry game, mind you. These two teams absolutely hate each other. This is going to be a phenomenal game. This is 3:30 ABC. Don't know why it was 3:30. Why not just make it 7:30? I mean, seriously. I mean, what even is the what was the night ABC? Oh yeah, that was Miami, Florida, and North Carolina. Yeah, why is Oregon and Washington not the night game? How does that make any sense at all? Anyway, um, probably because they wanted it to be noon on the on the West Coast. Oh, okay, that makes sense. But Oregon, Washington, a massive rivalry. These two absolutely despise each other. It should be outstanding. You got Bo Nix versus Michael Penix, two guys who very easily could end up being first round picks in this coming NFL draft. Both of those guys have looked unbelievable. Both of these teams have looked unbelievable. They've been blowing everybody out that they've essentially been playing. I mean, Oregon and Washington both have had closer games on the road. Washington getting a 7-point win at Arizona, Oregon getting an 8-point win at Texas Tech. These two teams seem so evenly matched. And this is going to be a game I think that will get certainly a pretty solid amount of points. Oregon has a top 10 scoring offense and defense. Washington, though, these are actually the number 1 and 2 offenses going against each other in this game. I can't wait to see this. This is going to be so much fun. But with these two going head to head, a massive rivalry. I'm going to go with this home team. I'm going to take Washington. I'm going to give them just a very, very slight edge. Oregon's not a team that really plays that well on the road, but I think this is a huge game. It's against their biggest rival. Oregon's going to be ready for this game, but so is Washington. It's going to be back and forth. But give me the Oregon Ducks in what should be a very, very entertaining game, and honestly could end up being one of the best games of the year. Now, after this week, if you guys actually follow the Instagram page, I'm going to put up I'm gonna put up a post with like several games of the season, and I'm gonna and I'll leave it up to your guys' vote. And I'll put a bunch of games on there during the season, and then I'll just ask you guys which one of the games you think is the best one of the season at that point, because we're coming up on the halfway point. Week like 7 is pretty much right in the middle. So after week 7, I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll post a bunch of different games. Just type in the number and make your vote. Anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next video. Until next time, adios, everyone.